Hi, I'm Ben. I like Kill Team, and I want to talk about it. Alright, I have played quite a few games at this point of the new edition of Kill Team, and I'm starting to get a feel. Definitely still in the learning phase. I wouldn't claim to know anything that anybody else doesn't. But I'm starting to get a feel for what works and what doesn't, and more importantly, I'm getting a feel for what I like and what I don't like. I've been mostly playing Death Watch, and I've had a really good time with them. They're pretty much everything I had hoped for in this new edition, so that's cool. But the problem I'm having is that 5 bodies is just not optimal against certain matchups. I played a match against Imperial Guard the other day, and they went full on body spam, and so it was just 14 guardsmen with a bunch of las guns, a plasma, a grenade launcher, a melta, right? And so I did pretty good. I think I might have won that one, but it was tough. It's hard to make 5 bodies work. So all this has led me to my next kill team build, which I'm hoping will give me an answer to teams with a higher model count. Enter my Chaos Space Marine kill team. Tasty chaos. I ended up building and painting them as red Corsairs because Chaos Space Pirates are cool, and more importantly because all their trim is black, so I wouldn't have to go through and paint gold trim and have to worry about it. So to paint them, I primed them black, I dry brushed them with gray, and then I did kind of like this stippling thing with a darker red to a lighter red. And it's down and dirty, and it's not winning any awards, but I think it looks pretty decent from the tabletop. And I used the really cool Vallejo neon paints, that I recently discovered at my local game store, which are awesome for plasma and glowing effects. So, pretty cool. All right, let's get into the list and how I plan to run them. Starting off with my leader, no surprises here, is an aspiring champion with plasma pistol and power weapon. I'd imagine this is what we're going to see most of the time. The only thing that I would think about changing is maybe a power fist, depending on the matchup, but in most cases, I would rather be hitting on 2s and critting on 5s. And with the strategic ploy, I believe it's called Let the Galaxy Burn, you can be hitting on 2s, critting on 4s, which is awesome. For equipment, there are some really strong options here. And there's a couple of them that are just like no-brainers to me, whereas depending on what you take for Space Marines, there's not a ton of good options. But for Chaos Marines, there's like a couple of really, really good ones that I would like almost auto-take. Starting off with the first auto-take is a Sacrificial Dagger on this guy. That's once per turning point. If you kill somebody in melee, you can regain up to 4 wounds. Which, man, is so cool because you're probably going to be killing. If you're hitting on 2s, critting on 4s, you're probably going to kill. If you get in first, you're probably going to land the kill and then, pop back up 4 wounds, which will help you stay on the table longer, which is, what we're all hoping for in this new edition is to just stay on the table, especially with your Marines, right? So that one's great. I would pretty much auto-take that on this guy. The other really strong ones for him are Dark Blessing, which gives you an extra attack, which would take you up to 6 attacks, which I think would be awesome if you're running Power Fist, because your Power Fist hits on 3s, help make it a little bit more reliable with an extra dice. But if you're running a Power Weapon, which most times I think is the way to go, because I just like critting on 5s, is Grizzly Trophy. And if you're running a Power Weapon, I think that's the way to go because that subtracts 1 attack characteristic from your opponent within 3 inches or something like that. It's like a 3-inch bubble and it takes away one of their attacks. So that's what I would definitely go for with a power weapon. But if you're running a power fist, I might consider doing Dark Blessing to bump you up to 6 attacks. Just help those rolls be a little more reliable. But if you're feeling really crazy and particularly chaosy, you could give him all 3, which is probably not optimal, but is so tempting because he'd be such a powerhouse. If he has the power weapon, that would be 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, critting on 4s with Let the Galaxy Burn for 1 CP. He'd be subtracting 1 attack from anybody who attacks him, and then he'd be gaining 4 wounds once per turning point after he makes a kill. Which, if you have all that stacked, he's gonna probably get the kills. And that would be just a super ultra reliable and survivable melee monster. And so, if you do that, all your equipment point is all on one guy, and if and when he goes down, which if you're running him as a melee model, he will expire. He has an expiration date. He's not going to last forever. That might not be the way to go, but it's so tempting because he would be just a nightmare to have to fight. So if you're going that direction, it would be fun, but it's a big old nasty stack of cheese. But I don't know if you want to do it. I'm gonna try it though. Moving on to the heavy gunner. I've given him the heavy bolter because when you pair it with some of the equipment options, it's a pretty strong choice. But you could easily go for the missile launcher as well. But this is what I went with. Similar to the aspiring champion, there are some really good equipment choices for this guy. Belt Fed lets you reroll ones, which is awesome. Suspensor System removes the heavy keyword and allows you to move, up to 6 inches. So that's pretty cool if you want to run and gun with this guy. Or my favorite, I think it's called Malefic Rounds, which would actually turn him into AP1. It would go from Piercing 1 to Armor Piercing 1, just AP1, which would be awesome to have on a heavy bolter. So again, you could take your pick. The way I have been running this guy is turn 1, I get him up to a vantage point, and just kind of sit him there and let him rain down and kind of hold down that side of the board. But if you wanted to run and gun, you could definitely go with Suspensor System. I thought Suspensor System would be the way to go. Maybe it is, but for the way I have been running him, it's kind of a waste of points because I post him up on a vantage point and then just let him kind of hold down that side of the board. My favorite is Malefic. I think it's Malefic. Malefic Rounds. Correct me in the comments, please. And which would turn this thing into AP1, which would be awesome. So imagine you have a heavy bolter with AP1 all the time, and in your other fire team, you go with a plasma, and man, that'd be super cool. So that's how I would plan to run him. But again, if you want to be a crazy person, you can give him all 3, and that would just be like a powerhouse. Next up is my Icon Bearer with Chainsword and Bolt Pistol. I went with this guy just because I wanted another melee threat to complement my leader. As a spoiler, I'll have a bunch of cultists to give me volume of fire when I need it. I'm typically not running any equipment on him, but everything that's good for the aspiring champion is also good for this guy. And he's got the icon, which gives him, when he's holding down an objective, he counts as one more APL than normal just to help hold a point. And I think it's inspired by Vengeance or something, which, within like a 3-inch bubble lets people take a regular hit and turn into a crit, I believe. So yeah, cool. That's my Icon Bearer. The way I've run this guy in my games is just kind of a support unit with my aspiring champion. How I've done it is I've had my heavy gunner on on one side, kind of holding down that lane for anybody who's trying to get up close, just trying to snipe them out before they even get a chance. And then I run this guy and my aspiring champion up on the other side to kind of just create a distraction. And I know they're not going to last very long, but they're going to take out and cause panic on that side, while I can hold down with my gunners on the other side. So that's kind of what I've been doing with this guy and the aspiring champion. All right, on to the loser patrol. I have 2 cultist gunners, one with stubber and one with flamer. I don't really know what else to say about them. They suck a little less than the other cultists. And last but certainly not least, my 6 cultist fighters. The GA2 is really awesome and gives you a chance to take an early lead on objectives. They're nothing special, but they're also everything special about this list. Because the classic cultists are kind of impossible to find right now, except for on eBay for, gougy prices, I just had some old guardsmen laying around from the last edition of Kill Team. And so I just stripped them and kind of painted them black and dry brushed them gray and probably went, overboard on making them feel grungy. I don't know. So I like some of them suck. Didn't come out. I'll be super honest. Not everything comes out the way you want it to, and these guys didn't. There's a few I'm happy with, but there's also quite a few that I'm not happy with as well. So on the modeling side, but on the board they look good as a unit. Spread out, they kind of fit the bill. And the other reason I went with guardsmen is because being a band of space pirates, I kind of wanted some level of uniformity on the guardsmen. Like they are a unit. They belong to a crew. Even though pirates are always ragtag, I wanted something to kind of tie them together. Initially, I had them painted a bright red like the Marines, but that just looked way too kind of campy, and I wasn't a fan of it. For me, it works on the Marines, but not for these little guys. So I grunged them up. Again, probably too much. Strategy-wise, in my games with them, what I have been doing is running in the grunts with the group allowance 2 and trying to take an early lead on objectives, kind of get places on the board where I wanted to be early, 2 places in 1 activation, which is really nice. and then I let the big boys come in after they've all moved and done their thing, and then kind of sweep up whoever's out in the open, or all that kind of stuff. Like I said, my heavy bolter is going to a vantage point as soon as possible to rain hellfire down, and then I run the aspiring champion and icon bearer up the opposite side, typically, just to create put a lot of pressure and create a big distraction. So my cultist, like I said, nothing special and everything special about this list is the numbers, and that you have these little grunts who can run around and hold points and grab things and all that kind of stuff. So they're everything and nothing that is special about this list, and I kind of like it. As far as roster goes, I definitely plan on building some more Marines. I want a plasma gunner. I want to be able to run 6 Marines if I feel like it. But I found them to be a really strong flex team. The fact you can take super elite, you can take 8 cultists, which is a bargain to get 8, super flexible. And they do good against those higher number teams where I struggle with the body count of just 5. So what is that? 3 plus 8, was that 11? Yeah, so with 11 bodies is a lot easier to play the field and grab objectives than just 5 guys. So it's done what I wanted them to do. I'm not playing them at the level that I would like to be playing them yet, but I'm not playing anything at the level that I'd like to be playing them yet. They also have probably my favorite that I've messed with equipment options so far. There's like 6, 7, 8 options that are all really good, which I can't say that about Marines. The equipment options are good depending on the teams you take, but almost all the options are really good for this team. And that's everything I know so far from the games that I have played. I've had good results. More importantly, I've had fun. But I think we'll be seeing a lot of these guys in future games, just because you can kind of do a lot with them. And I had an idea. If you don't like Chaos Space Marines, you could just model regular Marines and Guardsmen and kind of run them with Chaos rules, which would probably play better than regular Marines anyways. And I thought that would be kind of cool. Maybe have like a Raptor kill team, with like Guardsmen to kind of supplement this fluff wise, and that could be kind of cool on the table. So that's kind of bouncing around in my head that I may do that eventually, but I have plenty of other teams to get to before I even start thinking about that. All right, that's going to do it, guys. Let me know if you have played with or against Chaos Space Marines, what you think about my team. If you think I've missed something or if you think I can improve somewhere, please let me know. I'm having fun with them, which is super important. Thank you guys for 400 subscribers. I think in the last video, I was thanking you for 250. So welcome to everybody who subscribed since that last video. You're blowing my mind, and it's just really cool of you. So the next video will either be... What is it going to be? Let me think. It's either going to be an all Scion kill team, which I think has a lot of potential, or it's going to be Battle Sisters of Battle, Adeptus Sororitas. See, I was afraid to say that because some people say Sororitas. I don't know. I say Adeptus Sororitas, but to potato. And I have a few other ideas for trying some new things, some new kinds of styles of video, because I try to have one kill team ready per week, but sometimes it's just not practical with work and family and other things that are more important than hobby. So you might see those coming in the future. So thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and commenting and subscribing and doing all the things and being really cool on the internet. That's going to do it for me, and I'll see you around.